Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending which part of the world you all are joining us from. This is Megha Chaudhary. I head the global marketing at Course5 Intelligence. Welcome and thank you for attending this webinar on accelerated speed to market, transforming research operations with AI. Poonam Dave and Dan Foreman are here with us today, and they will be talking about how advanced digital and AI-based technologies are helping research organizations automate large parts of the operation cycle, cutting turnaround time on studies, and helping businesses act faster based on insights. I will bring your attention towards Course5 Intelligence. At Course5 Intelligence, we support digital transformations enabled through analytics, insights, and artificial intelligence. We support Fortune 500 companies, large corporates, and agencies in key regions such as US, Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. Rapid advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning technology have enabled us to create disruptive technologies and accelerators under our Course5 Intelligence suites that combine analytics, digital, and research solutions to provide significant and long-term value to our clients. Having said that, I would want to bring your attention to a couple of housekeeping items. Recording of this webinar will be available on our website, www.course5i.com. And we will also be emailing to all the participants who've registered for the webinar in the next 2 days. If you have any questions or conversations during or after the webinar, to continue this conversation on Twitter, please use the hashtag #TransformResearchWithAI. For questions, you can ask your questions at any time using the Q&A panel on your screen. It is on the bottom panel, second tab. We'll get your questions as and when you type, but I will bring them up towards the end of the webinar. We have a time frame of about 40 to 45 minutes for this webinar. First 30 minutes for presentation and 10 to 15 minutes we'll take for Q&A towards the end. And I hope you all will stay with us till that time. Moving on to our presenters for the day, we have Poonam Dave and Dan Foreman. Poonam is VP Operations at Course5 Intelligence and has over 12 years of experience working with KPO and captive setups. Managing operations, driving strategy, leading client engagement, and delivering efficiency via innovation are some of the roles she has undertaken. Dan Foreman is a market research leader and SOMAR past president. Dan is Course5 Intelligence's non-executive director and advisory board member. He supports the company with strategy, growth, sales, and marketing, and is an industry veteran who has been building businesses across North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific region for over 20 years. Now, I think Poonam and Dan, over to you both to give the presentation.
Thank you very much, Megha. This is Dan Foreman here, talking to you from a very sunny London. Those of you who have dialed in to this webinar from London, I appreciate you taking the time out from the wonderful day, the wonderful weather, to come and listen to us talk about research transformation. So I'm sure that all of you have heard and read an enormous amount about AI over the past few years and heard that AI is going to revolutionize virtually every aspect of our life. It's being used everywhere, from the really high tech like military and space exploration to the everyday, the more mundane, the Internet of Things, household washing machines, vacuum cleaners, voice assistants, and so on. So with all of this hype, AI, of course, has come with a number of challenges. And undoubtedly, there's been a lot of success, but there's also been a lot of overpromise, misunderstanding, and within our industry, mis-selling using AI. So to ensure that this isn't just another song and dance about how AI will solve all of your problems, right from the outset, we wanted to let you know what you'll be walking away with at the end of this webinar. So the kind of questions that we're looking to address are: how are we using AI to fast track market research operations? Can I get results faster from the first day of deploying this platform? Does this get better with time? can I see my operations getting more efficient? And what kind of impact can we expect from AI? So now that you know what this webinar will cover, let's get into a bit more detail about our actual platform. What you can now see on your screen is a typical market research operations process. I'm sure it's very familiar to all of us on this webinar. And it represents the different stages of a study, including penning the research design, developing the questionnaire, generating links, fielding the survey, collecting the data, tabulating, analyzing data, and finally preparing results. Now, all of these steps, as we know, are interdependent on each other, and they have to be done sequentially. And very often these stages are using different platforms. For example, survey creation is done on a survey programming platform, which doesn't have the functionality to generate all the data tables and end reports and complexity that you need there. The tabulation and reporting, therefore, is typically done on a different platform. So often for every single study that you're deploying, you're dealing with multiple platforms at different points along the stage. Now, as well as multiple platforms, of course, to execute different stages, you need a different set of skills. And most market research operations, certainly those at scale, are structured to have different teams for each stage. And within that, there's often different platform-based teams. So we may have one team that does survey programming. That could also be broken down into some sub-teams working on different platforms. And most of these resources are not so easily interchangeable. So because there's a lot of dependency, and this dependency is on people, inevitably, with any research operations process, there's a knowledge leak that's just a big part of the process. So the way these are structured, we often end up with quite siloed, micro-focused approaches to different parts of market research operations. And in my experience leading a number of different operations, this has often resulted in curtailing and segmenting the creativity of our employees, the people who are involved, which can lead to inefficient or stifled innovation. So that creativity often disappears. So over time, I'm pretty sure that every organization that's built some sort of small scale automation or some macros for some tasks, they've seen some efficiencies, but they're often very specific to a certain type of study or a certain project. And so whilst it has an impact one-off on efficiency, it doesn't usually have a significant impact on the efficiency and turnaround time across a whole operation. So there's micro improvements. So essentially, I think we're dealing with often some very high costs, some inefficiencies, sometimes a lack of speed, and therefore, unfortunately, a compromise on quality. And I'm pretty sure that some of these, if not all of these points, are going to be familiar to you and pretty high up on your list of challenges when it comes to market research operations. So keeping that in mind, what we've done at Course5 is developed a platform that tackles a lot of these challenges and significantly makes research operations faster and more efficient. And we call this platform the Optimizer Suite. So as you can see, the Optimizer Suite is an AI-based platform that helps optimize market research operations. It uses a few different types of AI modules, like robotic process automation, rich NLP engines, high-order machine learning. But before I go into too much detail about the platform, I thought it might be good to explain why we decide to use AI in our operations process. Well, the challenges of cost, speed, efficiency, and quality that I mentioned earlier, they're not new to this industry. And in many ways, existing conventional technology has been able to address some of these and has certainly tried to tackle them, but it hasn't been able to do that at scale with the success that we would like. So we decided that we would look at the AI route, even understanding that it is very nascent, it's still quite expensive, because we believe that the benefits of using AI significantly outweigh the challenges that we're facing at the moment. So the conventional technologies that we've used in the past usually can't adapt to dynamic situations or scenarios. You know, we operate in an environment where researchers often have unique ways of writing questionnaires, there's personal styles, there's various reasons. Sometimes they're client dependent, sometimes they're research dependent, sometimes they're a specific study. So we were looking to automate the first step of the market research operations, which is the survey scripting part, because we felt that the machine could expect a questionnaire to arrive in a format which it can read and also manage a number of different inputs, because it's difficult with conventional technology to read something that doesn't just fit into a predictable template. So this scenario is very well suited for AI because AI has the capability to self-learn as you put more data and train more in there. And we've trained now with thousands of different questionnaire formats that have fed into this engine. So as with any set of training data for AI, the more training data we put in, then of course the stronger the AI gets, the self-learning technology. So we know now that we can adapt and read something, even if it falls outside of an existing template, if it's a new study that we've never seen before, or a completely different style of questions or brand lists, the AI can cope with that because it's seen so many variations before. And we already know that the investment that we've made in the AI has significantly paid back over the costs of training and retraining researchers or project managers who have to use and stick to a template, particularly when team members are changing and there's churn within the organization. So the benefits for us of AI over conventional technology have far outweighed the cost and the development effort and the time put in. And we believe that with AI, our platform can really help drive that much required speed, efficiency, and optimization that we talked about in every step of the market research process, which of course reduces the overall people dependency, the associated costs, and can improve the quality and speed to market for you. So the AI modules we've used were specifically chosen with that end in mind. So robotic process automation is used to sharply reduce the turnaround time across research operations. The NLP and machine learning, they speed up the parsing process and allow the platform to self-learn and reduce turnaround times for future studies. And AI self-learning capabilities not only help it learn on the job, but ensures that as we're learning, all of those learnings are captured, they can be deployed, they are used to continually develop, and we see constant improvements in the overall process, again, whilst at the same time reducing the people dependency. So I hope that broadly made sense, but to get some more insight into this, I'll hand over to a more technical part, including a demo where Poonam can walk you through some of the details of how this actually works. I believe Poonam's on mute.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Well, I hope we've raised your interest levels, and I hope you're curious to know how exactly the platform works and where does AI apply. In its current state today, the Optimizer suite is ready with the survey scripting module. And as the name suggests, this module helps program the survey and generate an online survey link. Now let's take a look at a typical process or a typical way the operational research cycle would work. Now, as of today, you would receive a word questionnaire from the researcher. Your scripting team will then manually review the questions and start scripting the questionnaire to generate an online link. The scripting will include manually adding questions, their options, applying the logic, and so on. Once the scripting is complete, the scripter will thoroughly review the code and then apply it on the hosting platform to generate your online survey link. In the case of Optimizer Suite, the manual activity of scripting the questionnaire is eliminated, as the Optimizer Suite uses a parser that actually reads the entire questionnaire and generates the AI engine will generate and classify all of these questions that it's read. These questions are nothing but parsed in 3 different buckets. What are the questions? What are the options for those questions? And finally, what kind of logic needs to be applied to those questions? Once this entire categorization is done, it will then apply the syntax, the logic, and then eventually generate an XML output for you. This output is QC'd on the platform itself, and then it can be used to host on any of your survey hosting platforms, then generate an online survey link. Does this sound easy? Well, I'm sure you want to know how the platform performs this parsing. How does it recognize what are the questions, what are the options, and what exactly syntax needs to be added to the questionnaires? Well, like Dan mentioned, AI has the ability to kind of self-learn. It learns basis the training data that you feed it into and ask it to learn for. Our platform has been trained on thousands of varied questionnaire formats and has enough data to classify all these three elements. As more questionnaires are parsed through the platform, the accuracy and efficiency keeps increasing. As it reads various types of formats, we train the AI engine to read those formats and classify them accurately. So anytime you have a new questionnaire enter into the platform, it's going to identify it as something that it's classified before or flag it as a new entry. This way, every time there's something new coming in, AI is self-learning and we are helping it to learn. Our platform also has an AI predictor, which predicts the accuracy of the output basis the parsing and the classification. The platform flags questions which it may not have been able to classify correctly, and those will be the only questions or only sections within that survey that would need a manual intervention. The platform has an intuitive UI that allows you to change, edit, update questions, and even logics very conveniently on the platform itself. And because you're doing all of these changes on the platform, the AI is actually making a note of all these learnings to ensure that the next time it encounters a similar situation, it exactly knows what kind of action or what kind of classification needs to be done. I'm pretty sure that, once I show you how this platform works, all of this will make a lot of sense. So now let me quickly open the platform and show you a demo of how the optimizer suite works. Before we start the demo, I would like to show you the questionnaire that we will use for the demo. Now here's a word questionnaire, which you can see on the screen. It's a typical 25-minute LOI survey, medium complexity, has the similar sections that you usually see, the screener section, it has logic, it has terminate, and most of the questions that are very familiar or you must be seeing on a regular basis. Now, this is the questionnaire that I'll show you how the engine is able to parse. Now, let me go back to the platform. Now, let's log in into the platform. The moment you log in, you'll see a couple of questionnaires that we've already been able to parse through the platform. Now, let me create a new survey so that I can parse the questionnaire that I just showed you. I'll give it a project name. Let me add test, a project number, and I'll enter the client name. I'll upload the same questionnaire that I just showed you, and I'll hit submit. Now on the screen, on the left-hand side where you can see a box that says document parsing, this document parsing is exactly doing what we just told you a few minutes ago. It's actually scanning through the entire questionnaire to classify all these three elements. It's classifying what are the questions, it's classifying the options, and it's classifying what action need to be taken on those questions. This classification is done for the entire questionnaire. Once the classification is done, it's actually going to then apply the syntax and the logic for each of those questions, depending upon what AI has understood and what action it needs to take. As you can see on the screen, it says document ready. What this means is that it's been able to complete the entire parsing of the questionnaire. Now let me show you what it's exactly done. Now I'll click on review, and on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see all of the questions that the parser has been able to parse. Let me go back to the questionnaire and let's pick up one or two questions which I can show you in detail on how it's worked. I'll open up the word questionnaire again. Now, if you see question number 1, that's a gender question. It says the question text is "Are you?" and the gender options are number 1 male and number 1 female. Let's look at question 2 as well. It's an age question, and actually on this question, as you can see, it asks us to terminate the survey if anyone enters an option 1, which is 18 years or below, or option 6, which is 54 years and above. So let me go back to the platform and show you how AI has been able to parse this. On the screen, on the left-hand side, you can see the tree structure that AI has been able to parse. So all of these are the questions that the survey contains. Let me click on question number 1 and let's see how it's been able to parse it. So it has identified the title as S1, the text as RU, and if you go down, it will show you the options male and female. So this question has been parsed accurately. Now let's go to question number 2. For question number 2, you can see on the left-hand side itself, it says S2 any 1 and 6, which means if the answer options are anywhere between 1 and 6, then it needs to terminate. And again, on the right-hand side, you can see that all the options for this question have been parsed correctly from option number 1 and 6, including the logic that it says if it's anything between 1, if it's anything 1 and 6, it needs to terminate the survey. So this is how actually the optimizer suite works when the parser has completed parsing all of the questions. Now in this particular survey, there will be questions which it may not have parsed accurately, which will it highlight for you. And like we said, those are the only questions that would need manual intervention. Now this is a demonstration of how the AI suite has parsed it. Now let's talk about compatibility in terms of hosting these particular questions. The survey scripting module is capable of generating XML outputs that can be used by several leading hosting platforms today. Now let's see an example. Here we have options of Confirm It, Decipher, Dimensions. These are some of the leading hosting platforms that we have. The optimizer suite is also capable of customizing to your own world if you have a hosting platform of your own. We have been successful in customizing this for clients which have their own platforms. RSVP, Report are a few examples. For the purpose of this demo, let me just download the XML file in a Confirm It format. So I'll choose Confirm It, I'll hit on download and wait for the XML file to arrive. So as you can see, here's the Confirm It file. Let me just open that. So this file will contain all of the code for that specific survey, which then you can use on the Confirm It hosting platform. Like you can see over here on the screen, after identifying the questions, it has auto-applied all of the syntax, all of the logic, just by reading what that question is and what action needs to be taken on that question. So this is the XML file that you will use on your Confirm It hosting platform in order to generate the survey link. Like we mentioned some while ago, if there are any changes on the survey, we encourage our users to make the changes on the platform itself so that anything that you are doing, you are auto-training the platform to make sure that the next time a change like that occurs, the action that needs to be taken is demonstrated what you do on the platform. So I hope this was useful, and I hope you were able to see how quickly we were able to parse a particular questionnaire which had about 30 odd questions and was of medium complexity. Just to talk about current efficiencies, well, currently the platform helps generate efficiencies of about 30 to 40%, which means if a project takes 5 days to script manually, the platform can deliver the same in about 2 days, which means you can actually start fielding sooner and expect to deliver results to your clients way faster. Like I mentioned, the platform is currently ready with its survey scripting module, but similarly, it has data tables, coding, reporting modules, which will, like the survey generation module, help drive efficiency in each phase of the MR process. The data processing module will essentially create a script to run tables and will have the ability to customize to client standards. We will provide an intuitive UI, which will also allow you to make changes on the go to the script. The coding module will include text analytics modules to perform open-end coding, brand coding. So you can imagine a scenario where your brand coding is completely automated, and because the platform has the ability to generate taxonomies on the go, you will literally be ready with your coding exercises the moment you have data from the field. The reporting module will primarily make reports from the tab specs, interim and post field as well. And with its intuitive UI, you will be able to provide, or you will be able to deliver custom reports on the go. This module will also have the option to load client templates. It will have a library of presentation components for custom slides as well. So this is the vision that we have for the optimizer suite. So essentially, what does this mean for you? You can run your projects with efficiencies of up to 70%. And since the processing is done by a platform, it's less prone to errors. You can leave the learnings to the system and be less dependent on people to run the process for you. Doesn't this sound like a real advantage? Where our clients definitely think so. Our clients have realized the power of AI and have adopted to the platform to yield its early benefits. So before we wrap up, I do once again want to bring up the questions that we said we would address. How are we using AI to fast track market research operations? Well, with the relevant modules of AI, we are reducing a lot of manual intervention and allowing the machine to do it faster. Because the machine is learning, because the machine is doing it, it's very prone to human errors, and that's how we are using AI to our advantage. Can I get results faster from the first day of deploying this platform? Well, if your surveys are not very niche, not too complex, then yes, we have seen clients gain 20 to 30% efficiencies from the first usage itself. And like we mentioned, the more you use the platform, the more efficiency it's going to deliver, because the more patterns it's going to see and learn on its own. Does this get better with time? Can I see my operations getting more efficient? Well, absolutely. As the engine trains on more data format, it keeps learning and hence better predicts by reducing any sort of manual intervention required. And lastly, what kind of impact can we expect from AI? Well, at this stage, AI is used to automate and remove manual dependency. A lot of AI modules are using the self-learning techniques for it to keep on learning on the job. And we believe that with the advancement of AI technologies, it will depend on how smartly we want to adapt it to various stages of our operating procedures. With this, we'll conclude the webinar, and we hope that we've been able to share some insights into our platform and how, with the right usage of AI, we can really help accelerate your MR operations. With that, I'll come to an end to the presentation and hand it over to Megha to see if there are any questions from our audience today.
Indeed. Thank you, Poonam and Dan, for the presentation. I do see we have a few questions that have come in from the audience. Let's take them up now. So I think the first question is from Ron, and he says, the process seems very straightforward. What makes this distinctive? Poonam, do you want to take that up?
Sure, Megha. Thanks, Ron. Actually, it's endearing to see that you thought the process is very straightforward. That's how we envisioned it should be. Well, the platform is very intuitive. You need to upload your questionnaires onto the platform. The AI will do the parsing and show you what exactly and how exactly it's parsed it. Any changes can be done on the platform itself, and then you download the XML file to put it on your hosting platform. The distinctive piece about our platform is the whole usage of AI. Like Dan mentioned some time ago, conventional technologies have tried to do this, but because most of the questionnaires do not follow a specific templatized format, it kind of fails to deliver the efficiencies that we expect. And that's exactly what AI is trying to solve for us today. So that's the distinction that we bring with this platform, is the usage of the right AI technologies.
Super. I hope, Ron, that answers your question. The next one is from Matt Williams. Does this only read a word questionnaire as an input? Dan, do you have a take on this?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, the majority of the research industry starts out the questionnaire process using Word. And so that was the first thing that we looked to really start to replicate and infuse into the system when we were looking to when we were looking to use AI as part of this process. But so we've been very successful passing in all sorts of different word formats, including all the different types of word. And a word questionnaire is essentially, from an AI point of view, a fairly unstructured set of data. So we are currently doing some experimentation with Excel-based questionnaires, and it seems to all be performing fine. And I think we will soon be working with PDF format too. But as I say, the majority is in Word. So yes, it works in Word, but it can also work with, at this point, any unstructured data.
Superb. I'm sure that helps. We have a relating question that's come up from Rakesh Gupta, and he's asking, is uploading questionnaire to train the model a never-ending process?
Well, Megha, I'd like to take that up. Well, Rakesh, I think it's as much as you train is going to only improve the accuracy and efficiency of the process. But yes, there will be a limit. So say, for example, there are certain type of questions that you have kept on training the engine and you're pretty confident that time and again, the output has been delivered as per the expectation. Probably then for those questions, yes, there will be an end. But because we are looking at everything in whole and there will be number of questions in combinations of questionnaires that you would upload, it's only a matter of parsing all of those questions and allowing AI to learn on as much as you can. So while it might be a never-ending process, or while it might look like a never-ending process, it's actually only helping the engine to deliver more accuracy and more efficiency.
Super. I think there's one from Catherine, and she wants to know, how does the platform do in parsing skips and other more complicated logic?
Sure, let me take that again, Megha. Catherine, thanks for the question, and we do get this question a lot. So because we understand that there are a lot more complex logics included in different type of questionnaires, we do have a list of what it performs and what it doesn't as of today. So we do have grid questions and we do have other complex questions that the engine is effectively able to parse. If there are outliers or if there are level 4 or very complex questions, the AI will flag it out, where, like we said, will require the manual intervention. So before we start or before we deploy this platform with our clients, we do indicate what works, what doesn't work, and where manual intervention is needed. But as of right now, the AI engine is able to seamlessly parse level 1, level 2, and a lot of level 3 kind of questionnaires. I hope that helps.
Super. I think I'll take the next one, which is, does this platform have to be on your environment or can this be at our location? This is from Claire.
Well, as of today, Claire, we have both the options. So we are licensing the platform to sit on your environment, where you'll have complete control of the kind of questionnaires you want to parse, the kind of output files you want to generate, and then host on your hosting platforms. And the other option also is to use our services. You can send the questionnaires to us. We'll use the platform, generate the survey link, and give you a survey link as the deliverable. So the answer to the question is, it can be both. It can sit with you and it can sit with us as well.
Great. I think the next one is asking, can this platform parse all languages? Dan, do you want to take that up? This is from Chris.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, currently we parse only in English. So it's just done in, again, it's a similar answer to the question about Word, that the majority of the global industry and a big part of our client base, the majority of the work is being done in an English format. So that's currently all we do. But in our next release, which is coming out shortly, we're then addressing all the next most popular languages. So that's a lot of the different European languages. But currently just English, but more to come out.
Great. I think we'll just take a couple of more questions. One has come from Jeff. He wants to know, is XML the only output file type? What about .gpx used by Questback? Poonam, do you want to take this?
Sure. Thanks, Jeff, for that question. We've seen that most of the hosting platforms have XML as the base. There are a few others like Dimensions who have a .mdd format, which is their own. And well, if you notice, Jeff, when I was doing the demo, you could see that there was another RSVP format that we actually customized the platform to read and deliver as an output, since one of our clients was using their own hosting platform. So today the platform does have the capability to kind of customize it in a format that you would want. To be honest, Questback is not something available on the platform, but it'll just be a matter of time for us to understand the output format and convert that into a .gpx, as you mentioned. So the platform does have the capability and the customization required to be able to do that.
Great. I am hoping, Jeff, that answers your question. If you have any following questions also, please keep on sending those to us, and we will be sending out all Q&A in one document to all the attendees. Okay, I'll take one more. I think Mariska wants to know, what are you developing next? I think you partly answered that, Poonam, but if you want to still take that up.
No, sure, that's a great question. Mariska, like we mentioned, we are trying to intervene, or we are trying to develop a platform which allows developing or bringing efficiencies in each stage of the MR process. The first stage is survey scripting, and that's where we've started. We've made a very good inroads in terms of driving some bits of efficiencies and speed into that cycle. The next is, of course, the data processing, where our modules will be able to clean data files. Our modules will be able to generate data scripts on the go and customize tables basis client requirements. The next module will be our coding module, where it will just not deliver code frames or coded data. We also want to make sure that the coded data are delivered with insights. So we'll be using a lot of text analytics to do that. And then at the end, we will have a reporting module where we will be able to customize a lot of the charting, the charts, the reports, more in an automated fashion, just by reading the tab specs or the reporting specs. So this is the vision that we have for Optimizer Suite. And like I mentioned, we will make sure that there are technologies or AI will be interjecting in every stage of the MR lifecycle to develop or to generate efficiencies that are required.
Excellent. I hope that's helpful, Mariska. I think Poonam, Dan, you got everyone intrigued. I have 6, 7 more questions, but I think we can, we're on top of the 40 minutes, so we can club all the questions and email the attendees separately with the answers. And if people have any more questions, you all can keep either tweeting your questions or email your questions to us at info@course5i.com. And I guess with that, we'll conclude. And thank you all for joining us today and staying till the very end. I hope you learned something new and found this very useful. We will be emailing you a recording of this webinar for your reference. And like I said, for any questions, reach out on info@course5i.com. Send us more queries that you have, follow-up questions that you might have on our products. So we look forward to hearing from you on that. Absolutely. Thank you again. And thank you, Poonam and Dan.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Megha. Thank you, everyone.
Superb. Good day to all, or good night.